Yeah, hi everyone. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're hearing my voice. So, welcome back to again the fifth webinar of B.Tech areas. So, we already conducted 4 webinars. It's like a very successful, and it's like yes, the webinars was we are getting like good, good feedback and good info about that. So anyway, we are happy. So we are conducted again. We are doing now new webinar, which is like understanding business analysis. So guys, knowing technical things is not at all enough. We have to know other things also. It is very important to us. So that's why APSSDC always striving to conduct this type of webinars. So anyway, so thanks for SESHA Kishore Garu for coming and always
Thank you.
giving good webinars and good content to our students. It's not an easy thing to you because you're running a company and doing your work and coming to us and giving. It's not at all easy thing. Thanks for us.
Sure.
Thank you so much for all students. So actually, yeah, today is understanding business analysis webinar, and we are having almost again 5 webinars also in upcoming, and this is the which is like fifth webinar, which was already told, and yeah, so Shesh Kumar Garu today, Shesh Kishore Garu will tell regarding what the things was important in business analysis. So just observe, just listen carefully, grab that things and utilize in your career. So definitely it will useful. And so please start this today's session
Okay.
and help us students to learn something.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Thank you all for coming for this webinar. Today's webinar is about understanding business analytics. So we'll be to give a brief introduction about ourselves. We used to have a company called SK Computers in India. We started in 1994, and in 2002 we started our Singapore operations. Now we are venturing into deep tech, offering total digital transformation solutions to the clients. And when we say deep tech, we'll be covering artificial intelligence, big data, analytics, and IoT. So we have different brands. AI Asia is for artificial intelligence. We are developing chatbots. And Analytica is for predictive analytics, developing dashboard reports for our clients. And Smart Cities for ISO 37120 quality certification for smart cities. IoTika is our Internet of Things brand where we develop end-to-end IoT solutions. And Academy is our training division where we offer training in deep technologies with industry collaboration. And I'm glad that we have recently tied up with Computer Society of India. So all our courses are certified by CSI, and CSI will issue the certificates. Okay. So with this introduction, I would like to start today's webinar about understanding business analytics. So the agenda is we understand the terminology in analytics and see why analytics is important, and understand the cross-industry process data mining framework. We call it CRISP-DM, which is industry-wide used network. Framework. And we understand how analytics application is done in real world, and we deep dive into the components of analytics, and we try to understand the latest terminology in analytics like augmented analytics and unified analytics. And I'll introduce you about the new concept called data lakes, and then I'll talk about the latest tools that are used in the industry as far as business analytics is concerned. Okay. So what is analytics? So analytics is a scientific process of discovering and communicating the meaningful patterns which can be found in data. That's the definition of analytics. So we use a lot of statistical techniques, computer programming, operations research, and all reporting techniques to do these analytics. So this is how an analytics dashboard looks like. This can be done in any software. This was done in a software called Tableau. So to give you a brief introduction about analysis and analytics, let me explain you with a small example. Example of a say educational institution, a coaching center where they train the students, and the students will appear for say M.Set exam. And after the exam is complete, they will analyze the result, and then they come up with nice charts and say, okay, these students failed, or these students got more than 90, these students got less than 40. Reports they generate. But what we call them is postmortem reports, meaning to say you're analyzing a situation which already happened in past, and you're looking at your past or historic data which is of no use to the management. What management wants to know is based on the data, they want to take some kind of decisions. So we are talking about predictive reports. That's what analytics is all about. So if you go back to the same example, so we analyze the data and we correlate the historic data which organization has, maybe like 10, 15 years of data, and we use some kind of statistical techniques and we'll give predictive analytics. That means we say, okay, based on the analytics reports, based on the existing, say, 1,000 students they're training now, coaching now, out of these 1,000 students, we pinpoint and say these 10 students may fail or these 10 students may get less than 40, these 10 may get more than 90. So that based on the analytics report, the management will be in a position to decide on the future. They know these people are going to get less marks, then they will concentrate and make sure that these people will get. Okay? So that's about analytics reports. Now let's understand, looking at the small business. So we are talking about a street hawker. Lot of, excuse me, a lot of noise is coming. Yeah. Let's look at this example of analytics. Let's look at a small business street hawker who is a fruit seller. So this fruit seller usually sells in one street, and suddenly we didn't see him for past couple of weeks, and then we've identified him in another street, two streets ahead of a adjacent street. Then we asked them why he's not coming to the regular street. Then he said these are the reasons, for he told why he's not coming to the regular street. He said not too many good customers. The customers in the street are very stingy. They negotiate a lot, and he says there are other two carts in the street. So there are other two carts in the street, and in the new streets he says there is less competition and people don't bargain much. And how he know that there are rich people in that street? Because he see there are a lot of cars in the street, and he knows that people are spending lavishly. So if you understand the whole scenario in analytical terms, what he exactly did is he did his customer profiling. That means he identified customers and how they're spending, who is a good customer and who is a bad customer, and where the more potential customers are there. And then he understanding the customer demographic segmentation. That means he know most of the customers, good customers are there in another street, another demographical area, and not in the existing area. And analysis of customers to take strategic decisions to his business, so he knows who is going to buy what, so he has that knowledge. And analysis of competitors, he told he already identified two more carts in the street, so indirectly he did some kind of market research and he analyzed the competitors. And then he did customer expenditure analytics, so he knows how exactly the customers are going to spend their money. So if you look at this example, even though he is a small street hawker, without intentionally knowing all these analytics terminology, he exactly did all these things inside his mind, and that's why he shifted his business from one particular place to another particular place. Okay. So if you look at these things from business point of view, in the real world terminology, if you go to a company, what we say is, okay, this street hawker is treated as, and his market is one market, and his product line is one product line in this case is fruits. And under this product line he has different products. That means under his fruits product line he is maybe selling bananas, he may be selling pomegranate and other fruits. These are called products. Okay. So what he exactly did in his mind is he did a lot of things like, he understood the sales cycle, he understood the customer behavior, and he understood the customer spending behavior pattern. He has a knowledge of stock management, price management, and all these things. Because it's a small business, he don't collect the data or record the data or keep the data in some place in Excel or anything. Because it's a small business, everything is in mind, and he does all these things before he takes a decision. So if you look at in the real world, every day we take a lot of decisions unknowingly, unintentionally doing all these things. For example, if you want to go ahead and buy something, maybe you go to one store, you go to that store because you get that product at a cheaper price, or some other reason you have. Unknowingly, you will do all these analytics calculations in your mind and then take a decision, take a purchase decision. So what I mean to say is, knowingly or unknowingly, analytics is all around us, and definitely in everyday life we are doing all these kind of things. So if you look at the same same analytics with a large scale business, because a street vendor is a small business, all these things he can do it in his mind, and it's a very easy thing for him. But you look at a big organization like Walmart. Walmart is a huge consumer goods selling organization in United States, and they got hundreds of thousands of stores across India, and they sell over 1 million transactions every hour. Now imagine Walmart have to do the same thing of customer profiling and understanding the customer needs, what kind of customers will buy what products, what price, and all these things. So how do they do all these things? If it's a small business, it's very easy for him to calculate because every numbers are very small. But the big supply chains like Walmart, they are very specific. They are very experts in understanding the customer behavior and always giving good prices. I mean, good quality products at good prices, because they use a lot of analytics techniques and analyze the data and understand the customer behavior, and then they're able in a position to better serve the customer. Okay. So what are the analytical questions and hardships Walmart is facing? If you understand the business of Walmart, they do a lot of transactions, say 10 million transactions per day, and which boils down to, if you take 365 days in a year, it boils down to 4 billion transactions every year. So customer segmentation, a fruit seller, it's very easy, how to do it, because he identified two cars in each house, so he thought it's a posh area, so they may be spending a lot. That's how he identified the customers. But how do a company like Walmart identify the customer? Like, how do they profile their customers? They use a lot of complex machine learning algorithms and AI, which can help them to do exactly the same thing what the small vendor is doing. And then the predictive analytics, the fruit seller, how he is able to do, because of his experience and judgment, he can do it. But companies like Walmart, they use business analytics tools like Power BI and develop these dashboard reports. Power BI is an industry, mostly favorable in the industry. It's developed by Microsoft, and most of the industry is using Power BI to do analytics for their day-to-day work. Okay, you take any organization, any big organization, they're using a lot of business analytics softwares to develop these spending behavior patterns. They analyze the whole business and come up with the dashboard reports. Okay. Now let's understand the applications of analytics in business. In business, every area needs these analytics reports. For example, inventory, you want to track inventory, then you need to understand how much inventory you need to keep to meet the demand, supply demand, and then because of the production demand and all these things. And then you need to identify the purchase habits, when the customer is going to buy, what quantity, when suddenly the customers may want to buy, and we call them trends or patterns. These are the technical terms we use in analytics. So what I mean to say is, this analytics in business, in every field they're using, it can be sales analytics, it can be it can be financial analytics, or it can be an operation analytics. Every area is using analytics, because every business manager wants to know more about business, and he wants to understand how he can improve business, and they always want to know about predictive analytics reports for that particular business segment. And in industry, we use what we call a cross-industry standard process for data mining framework. In short, we call it CRISP-DM. It is a methodology we use how we execute the analytics project. So it has got some 6 steps. We follow the same 6 steps in any analytics project. The first one is business issue understanding. So when you want to execute a product, first thing you need to know is you need to understand the business, what the businessman wants to know about the analytics reports. For example, the owner may say, hey, I want to know more about my sales, Excuse me, can you see my slides? One second. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. So the business issue understanding is, you need to understand what your customer exactly wants to find out from the data. Some salesman, the businessman wants to know. See, for example, if you look at the historic data, they analyze the data and see suddenly in December there is a surge in the sales. Because December being a a festive season, maybe most people might have purchased the things. So he wants to understand why exactly there is a spike in sales in December, and he wants to know about it. So first thing you need to do is understanding about the business requirement, and you define the business objectives, and then you will proceed with the next steps of this process. So the next one is data understanding, because if you want to come up with the dashboard report, you need to understand where to get the data and what kind of data is required to come up with that report. For example, you're analyzing sales data, then you need to understand where the sales data is coming from which software or which location, what kind of data is available for you to analyze, or sometimes you may have to go outside the organization and get the data about your competitors or what data available in the internet. A lot of things you have to understand, and you have to understand to create the analytics report, the dashboard report, what kind of data you need, and you have to be very clear on what kind of data you need, and then you will collect the data and then clean the data and get your data ready. Okay, the next step is this is what we call data preparation. So you select the data, clean the data, and then get ready with the data so that you can integrate the data into your model. So the next step is analysis or modeling. Basically, with the data, you will try to create one statistical model and then experiment with the data, how this data or the model is performing. And then in this process is iterative process. So you come up with a model, you test with some data, and maybe data is not sufficient. So you go back, you get some more data, you try again with the model, and then you keep testing it unless you are satisfied with your model. So once your model is ready and you're satisfied with your data, everything you think is okay, then you will validate or evaluate your model. So you will give some data and then check with the actual result and see whether it's matching or not. So you'll make sure that your model is accurate and is performing well. And then you will go for deployment. Deployment is you go live with the full data and then you generate all your presentation, visualization reports, and you present to the management. So any data business analytics project will follow the same 6 steps, which we call CRISP-DM, which is industry-wide practice. Most of the people follow this methodology. Okay. So now let's understanding about types of analytics. So in analytics, we have mainly 4 types of analytics. First one is descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. So descriptive analytics always helps to answer the question about what happened in the past. It always answers the question what. Diagnostic analytics always helps about why that event happened. It always tries to answer the question why. Predictive analytics helps answers questions about okay, what will happen in the future based on the historic records and the current data. The trend continues. What is going to happen in the future? Prescriptive analytics helps answer question about what actions should we take to achieve a certain goal or target. Now let me explain this with the help of a small example. For example, there is an ice cream seller. He sells ice creams every day in and out, and then we want to analyze his business. So descriptive analytics talks about what happened. That means we analyze the historic data and see how many ice creams were sold, what are the most sold brand, the flavors, these kind of questions. We answer what happened in the previous history, in the that's what descriptive analytics is about. And then the diagnostic analytics answers the question why events happen. For example, most sales happened in say May month. The question is maybe because of summer season most sales happen. So diagnostic analytics always answers the question why a particular event happened. And the next one is predictive analytics. So predictive analytics will answer the question what the future. For example, I will say vanilla ice cream. So how many customers are going to buy the vanilla ice creams in say March next year? That is a question I want to know based on my historical data using analytical techniques, statistical techniques. Predictive analytics will answer this question. It will give a prediction about future, whatever the management wants to know about their business. Whereas prescriptive analytics achieves a goal. For example, say the historic data in say April, May, June, we are selling say 10,000 ice creams. So predictive analytics will predict and say, okay, April, May, June, maybe you can sell 10,000 ice creams because of summer season, and it will analyze the historic data and it will say, okay, in this coming season also, you are in a position to say sell 10,000 ice creams. But prescriptive analytics, the management will set a target. So management will say, okay, I want to sell 15,000 ice creams. So what should I do? So the data analyst will analyze the data and understand why the spike, where the spike come from. Who is buying these 10,000 ice creams from which demographic area or which country. They will do all kinds of analytics, and then they will suggest the management in order to achieve that particular goal, what actions the management should take. Maybe they say lot of inquiries are coming from one particular area, then they will suggest maybe you need to advertise more because a lot of customers are coming from this area. So all kinds of recommendations will be given to the management in prescriptive analytics to achieve a goal. So In any analytics, you need to understand all these four types: descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. Okay. Why analytics is important? Because every day in and out, business wants to know more about their future, how they are going to improve. Nobody is interested to look at the previous historic data of whatever happened. As I said, we call them postmortem reports, and nobody is interested. Nowadays every business wants to know more about their future. That's why these predictive analytics reports are getting more and more popular. Okay. And then they help in improving the efficiency, or you can say revenue of the company. That's why people in every department are using this predictive analytics. So there is another term that is called augmented analytics. Augmented analytics. See, what happened is, whatever I have told, this predictive analytics is done by a person called, we call him a data scientist or a business analyst. So the role of business analyst is, he will go back, understand the data, historic data. He will collect the data from various sources and come up with some kind of insights with the data and present the data in a meaningful format to the management. See, if you give a lot of data in Excel format, management has got no time to look into the details. So what this business analyst will do is, he will present the data in visual format, so that by looking at the charts, the management will get an idea of what's happening, and he will give a predictive analytics of what they need to do in order to achieve the targets. Okay, this is what a data scientist will do in a real world business scenario. Nowadays what's happening is, lot of new technologies like artificial intelligence are coming, and people are using these artificial intelligence models to do these kind of techniques. So instead of a data scientist going and checking for the data, collecting the data and analyzing and coming up with the reports, people nowadays are using machine learning or natural language processing, these technologies, to automate the process what a data scientist will do. That means these programs are intelligent enough, they will know where to get the data based on the management's requirement of what kind of predictive analytics they want. So they will go search for the data, the required data, they will collect the data, they will gather the data, clean the data, and then generate automatic reports. These dashboard reports will be automatically generated for the management. This is what we call augmented analytics. Augmented analytics is nothing but, you're augmenting the capability of this analytics whole scenario, so that the management will have more flexibility. For example, management wants to know, one question they want to know. Okay, I want to improve sales in a particular region, so what should I do? Then the data analyst will take time, because he needs to go back, he needs to understand the question, collect the data, clean the data, upload the all these things he needs to do, and he needs time to generate the report what management is asking. But if we can develop an augmented analytics dashboard using AI will do the job in minutes, and whatever question the management wants to know, immediately it will be answered. So that gives the flexibility to the management to play around with the data. They can analyze a lot of what if scenarios. If I do this, what will happen? If I do that, what will happen? All these things will be done in real time, and that's why augmented analytics is picking up. And if this picks up in few years time, maybe 2 to 3 years, the role of data scientists or analysts will come down, and artificial intelligence will take over a lot of processes that are in place nowadays, and what we call data scientists or analysts are doing nowadays. Okay, this is about augmented analytics. There is another term that is coming up recently, what we call is unified analytics. Okay, unified analytics is, to understand unified analytics, you need to understand a few terms called data silos and data aggregation. I'll try to explain as much non-technical as possible, so that you'll have a better understanding. So data silos means, you take a big organization, and in each organization they will have lot of departments, right? So you'll have a finance department, marketing department, and say human resources department. So every department will have their own data in their own server, in their own software. That's what we call data silos. So the data is everywhere in the organization and not connected. For example, you want some data from HR, then you have to go to that particular server, particular system, and then only you can access the data. This is what we call data silos. So earlier, when the computers were first used, everybody have their own softwares. Finance department has their own software, HR has their own software, and everybody have the data in their own servers or their own software. So data silos was the term we used to use. and it was quite popular in the early usage of computers. Then when packages like solutions like enterprise resource planning and all these SAP and all these things have come up, then people have realized that organization level we need to maintain the data, and we cannot have data silos because everything is connected. One data from one particular department will definitely have effect in other department, right? So then people started inventing new technologies, and the major revolution was data warehousing. So what data warehousing does is it will collect the data from individual data sources, data silos, bring the data from data silos into one warehouse where we put all the data in the warehouse. So tomorrow, if you want any kind of data, you can collect the data from the warehouse. That is the concept. So in order to do this, because the data in particular silo, in for example, in HR may be in a different format, right? So there is another term called ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading. So somebody have to go to that particular silo, extract the data, transform the data so that it can be compatible with the data warehouse, and load the data to the data warehouse. In fact, in big organizations, this ETL is a separate department in computers. What they do is they will collect the data from different data sources, transform the data to the required data, what data warehouse format needs, and then they load the data into the data warehouse. So data used to be in data silos, and we use extraction, transformation, and loading to bring the data to the data warehouse. And then once the data is available in data warehouse, people can do a query. We call them RDBMS systems, relational database management systems, and you use like SQL. You do a query and get whatever data or information you want. This is how till now organizations managed their data, and SQL is quite popular. And in order for you to use SQL, you need to have a relational database management system. That means every data is stored in a fixed place, and everything is related to some other data. So everything is in a structured and organized format. This is how till now people used to do data management, and using this data warehouse people used to generate a lot of intelligence reports and all these things. But now, because of the advent of big data, a lot of things cannot be used nowadays. Let me give you a brief introduction about big data. Big data, we call big data if data satisfies three conditions. First one is volume of data, the second one is velocity of data, and third one is variety of data. Nowadays, data is coming from all sources. You get data from your internet, from your Facebook, from other source, and variety of data is coming from different formats. The data may be in text format, a video format, a PDF format, and all this data will be coming in real time in huge data coming from all sources in different formats. So these so-called data warehouse or relational database management systems or SQL databases cannot handle this, because in SQL you have to store the data in a specific format in a specific place. So if data is coming in real time with huge velocity in different formats, unfortunately these SQL databases cannot support. So that's why people are moving towards big data and big data platforms, which we call NoSQL databases, where there is no structured data. Okay, so unified analytics talks about doing analytics using this unstructured data. Okay, so let me talk about another concept which we call data lakes. So far I have told you that we will collect the data, extract the data from data silos, bring it to the data warehouse, and from data warehouse we used to generate reports. That is the old school. That's how till now we used to do. But now, because of big data, data is coming in different formats, and I told these SQL databases cannot support. So people are moving to NoSQL databases, where data can come from different formats, from different sources, and they will dump all the data into one place, what we call is a data lake. So data lake is a centralized storage repository that holds massive amount of structured and unstructured data. So whatever data the organization gets, we just dump into one, what we call a data lake. Whether it is structured or unstructured, whether it's a format is PDF, video, whatever data you get, we just dump the data into data lakes. So if you want to do analytics, unified analytics is you take the data, whatever data you want to take, you take the data from data lakes, and then you generate your reports. This is a new concept. So earlier when you want to do analytics and RDBMS used to do like take the structured data and you can present it in a structured format. But in unified analytics, whatever report you want on any department, you can do it by taking the data from the data lakes, because all the data is available at the organization level in only one place, which we call data lakes. So nowadays we talk about no SQL databases because big data cannot support SQL databases, and we dump all the data into what we call data lake, and from data lake we generate the analytics reports, what we call unified analytics. Okay, so let me explain you one more time the difference between data warehouse and data lake. The left hand side one is the data warehouse. So data is processed and organized into a single schema before being put into the data warehouse. I mean, I don't want to go too much about technical. So what you need to understand is in data warehouse, you have to put the data in a very structured format. You know, you want to put one data in one particular place. You have to follow a certain format, certain rule, and you can put the data in only one particular place. It's what we call a structured format. And then when people want to do analytics, they will take the data from data warehouse and then they will conduct their analytics. That is the old school. The right hand side one is a data lake. As I said, raw and unstructured data goes into the data lake. Nobody will do any kind of cleaning or any kind of structuring or anything. Whatever data that comes straight away, it will go to the data lake. And when somebody wants to do the analytics, they will go to the data lake, they will identify the data, they will clean the data, and they will extract the data into their format, and they have to manage, you know, what kind of format they want. And data warehouse don't do it, or your database don't do it. So data lake, we dump all the data into data lake, and person who is doing the analytics will take the data from data lake, and then he has to do all these the kind of cleaning and transforming it into his required format, and then he has to do his analytics. So that's the difference between data warehouse and data lake. And the concept of data lake is picking up quite fast because everybody is talking about big data, and you cannot work on structured databases anymore. Everybody is moving towards big data analytics. That's why the concepts of data lakes and unified analytics are picking up. Okay. Let me talk about the job opportunities you have in this analytics area. You know, when you go to the market, you see a lot of softwares, lot of technologies. You know, one guy say will AI will rule, AI, IoT, cyber security, and you talk about softwares. Hundreds of softwares are available. You know, you talk about Tableau, Hadoop, R, Python, lot of things. You know, so you need to understand what kind of job opportunities are available in which area, and then you have to prepare yourself or learn or train yourself in that particular area so that you know you can land in a good job. If you talk about analytics, these are the industry standard softwares that are used quite often in industry. Out of all these things, Microsoft Power BI is industry leader, being you know, Microsoft, they made it so easy. This package is very user friendly, and you almost no need to know about any kind of programming. It's like learning a package and start using the tool, and it will generate a lot of reports on its own, and it's very, very user friendly. And Microsoft is giving free of cost to a lot of users, and if you want to take it for business, it's very less expensive. That's why this is picking up a lot. And there are other softwares are available like Tableau or SQL or Google Analytics, and lot of softwares are available. So you need to identify which softwares the industry is using, and then you need to learn the softwares to land in a good job. And let me introduce you about this Gartner magic quadrant we call. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Gartner reports. So what this company Gartner does is every year they'll publish one Gartner quadrant report on one particular area. This is the magic quadrant report for business analytics. So what they do is every year they analyze the industry leading softwares in that particular area. For example, this I'm showing you for analytics. So they'll analyze all the analytics softwares that are available in the market, and they will segment or segregate them into 4 quadrants. So first quadrant is who are the major players. You know, all the major players they will identify in the first quadrant. And the second quadrant, who is the challengers. You know, these are like they are aggressively promoting new what you call features, or they are going to be competing quite good in the market. This is the second quadrant. And the third quadrant is who are the visionaries. They are coming up with something innovative. A lot of new features which are not there in the other softwares. They are thinking ahead of the industry and they're coming up with a lot of innovative solutions. So they will segregate them as visionaries. And the fourth quadrant, they identify them as leaders. So the trend is the first quadrant is a low cadre and the fourth quadrant is the leaders. These are the visionaries or the challengers or whatever you may call. So these are the leaders they identify every year. And if you look at the analytics, they have identified Microsoft and Tableau as the leaders. This is for 2019 and this is for 2020. And if you look at here also, Microsoft and Tableau are leading this business analytics scenario in the marketplace. Okay. So not only analytics, you talk about digital transformation. There are a lot of job opportunities are opening up. Everybody is eyeing on India, and venture capitalists are pumping in startups like anything. When we talk about digital transformation, all these areas like artificial intelligence, IoT, analytics, all these niche areas are going to pick up. And if anybody wants to land in a good job, it's the right time to learn these technologies and pick up the experience in the using these tools, because a lot of job opportunities are going to open up in the next few years. Okay. I think with this, I would like to end my presentation, and now I would like to take up any questions. Hello. Hello. Haripriya garu, can you hear me? Hello. Okay. Let me see. What are the basic things to start with me as a beginner to become business analyst? See, business analyst I suggest because there is no much programming involved compared to other technologies like artificial intelligence. For example, you want to pick up artificial intelligence, you have to be proficient in Python, and you need to learn a lot of computer jargon and understand, and you do a lot of programming. You develop your model and all those things. Whereas when it comes to business analytics, using these packages is very easy. They are very user friendly, and you don't need to have much of your programming knowledge. That's the main advantage. And another thing is this is picking up quite a lot because every business wants to know more about their future, and every business wants to go for these predictive analytics reports. That's why there's a huge boom coming up for these business analytics professionals. Of course, artificial intelligence, we need people, but people will be talking about PhDs, or whether you have an engineering degree or a master's or what kind of research you have done and all those things. But if you are a BSc graduate or an MCA graduate with little knowledge of computers, also you can learn these tools like Microsoft Power BI and become a business analyst. It's very user friendly tool. Okay. Can we get the data from another company? So when we say data, we talk about two things. First is primary data, and then the other one is tertiary data. So primary data is whatever data is available within the organization in different departments of the organization. So territory data is whatever is available outside the organization, maybe mostly from internet or from other sources. So other company data you can get, but as long as the other company is willing to give you the data or share the data. So normally we rely on primary data, whatever is available in the company, and at times we rely on internet for what is the data that is publicly available for the market. Okay. Uh, what should we be ready with before trying jobs in this field, like tools and other aspects? As I said, the main thing is, see, when you go for a job, first thing they will look at only two things: what is your knowledge, skill, or background, and then the next one is experience. So you will knowledge, you will say, okay, you have a B.Tech or a BSc or MCA, whatever degree you have, and then you say you have already completed a course in business analytics, and the next thing they will ask you is, okay, what is your proficiency in business analytics, what kind of what projects you have done in business analytics. Then they will take you. So in fact, in academy, we are offering courses. The courses, the way we design is, we identify the role in mind. For example, we want you to get placement as a business analyst. Then we start from business analyst, what business analyst role will do, and we teach using Power BI, follow Microsoft curriculum, so that you are in a position to take up Microsoft certification exam. Once you go get a Microsoft certified exam, you get certified, then it's easy for you to get a job because you're already certified by Microsoft. And since we have our consultancy division, we get a lot of projects from our clients. So we give the projects to the students. So after the course is complete, the student will be given a chance to work on the real project. How do we actually execute the project in the real world? Getting the data from the client, understanding the requirements, cleaning the data, and all these things. So you will complete at least one project with your hands on. So you will get a lot of confidence when you are facing the interview. That gives the companies also, you have already have the knowledge, you're already certified by Microsoft, and you have already done a couple of projects, so it's easy for you to get a job. Okay. How machine learning can be useful in business analysis? See, nowadays there you cannot segregate between machine learning, artificial intelligence, and business analytics. All these areas are merging together in giving a solution to the client. The client wants, say, one particular question. If analytics you cannot solve, maybe you rely on artificial intelligence to get the solution to the client. So it's all are interdependable and interchangeable, and nowadays we are using all technologies together to come up with a solution to the client. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? One second. Future, there will be any boom in BI? BI is already booming, and as I said, artificial intelligence will take over, and then we are talking about augmented analytics. So artificial intelligence or the machine learning models will automate all these processes, and they will automatically go to the data lake, collect the data what they want, and then present to the management what kind of reports they want. Maybe in future the manager can come to the screen and he can design his own report, what columns he wants and what information he wants, and the artificial intelligence will generate the report for him in minutes. That's how the future is going to be. So if you're interested, I mean, we are starting a new batch on 16th. Maybe you can get in touch with our guys, and you can explore, what kind of course we are offering, and if you are interested, then you can join. Praveen, maybe you can post the link. So any other questions? You can ask me anything about deep tech. It need not be for business analytics. Cost, I think we are charging around 3,000 rupees, 3,000 plus GST, something like that. Are you in Singapore? One second. Easy to accept. So how is the life on data analysis? As I said, artificial intelligence is going to lead, and data analytics will be augmented using artificial intelligence, and the managers will have more flexibility to play around with the data, and whatever reports they want, they can generate on their own with the touch of a button. So they don't really need a data scientist to develop the reports in future. So SAP is already coming up with these tools. They're calling it Einstein Analytics. Of course, it'll take like 2-3 years to come up with these kind of technologies, but that's how the future is going to be. career opportunities in business analytics. As I said, every business wants to know more about their business, right? So that's why this analytics is picking up. And another advantage is this business analytics software, is like, for example, the Microsoft Power BI is not at all costly. It is very cheap compared to other packages or other technologies. That's why everybody is going for this. And when I say business, like sales, the department wants to know more about their sales, marketing, and finance. Like every department wants to develop their own business analytics reports. That's why industry needs a lot of analytics professionals. Okay. Any other questions? We're engineering background from CSC stream, but we are worked on the non-ITS sector now, and we need to change the job profile through it. Industry can suggest any course. I think I suggest the best one is analytics because it's easy to learn, easy to switch, lot of opportunities. And only thing is you need to work hard and get Microsoft certification. Once you get Microsoft certification, it's easy for you. And another good news is because of COVID, Microsoft have reduced the certification cost like anything. They used to charge like 5,000-6,000 rupees. I think nowadays they're charging only 1,000 rupees. It's a very good time if you are interested to change the career in analytics. When AI is when AI is replacing everything, then what about employment in the future? Employment will, I mean, there will be like a lot of people are needed to develop these kind of models. Lot of opportunities will be opening up in AI field. In fact, I have done one webinar prior to this. We have talked about latest trends in artificial intelligence. Nowadays, people are coming with what we call digital employees. The digital employee is nothing but a program, artificial intelligence program, but it will have a persona. It will have like one face. I mean, human-like what you call impression, and they will talk as if you're talking to a human with expression, empathy, and all these things. So people are trying these digital employees. They'll integrate with the existing employees. So in future, you will be having a mix of digital employees and human employees, regular employees working together in an organization. So it's already started, and a lot of companies have already started using these digital employees. In fact, we got a tie-up with an Australian company. They are going to train us up in technically and give us work because they cannot cope their work in Australia, and they want to get it done in India, and they have tied up with us as a technical partners. There is a huge scope opening up, especially for artificial intelligence, and it's going to take away a lot of jobs. Okay? And another new technology that's coming up is you might have heard 5G. Because of 5G, the speed is going to increase enormously fast. And Singtel in Singapore, they've already started experimenting with what we call holographic calls. Holographic calls means, if, for example, you're talking to one person, the person's image will appear in front of you, and the image will talk to you with the same voice and same expressions. So you feel as if you're talking to the person straight sitting in front of you. This technology is already happening, and it's already like they've experimented it. All trail runs are done, and they want to launch this year in Singapore. So it's going to change the whole way we think, we talk, we communicate, and all these things. So Haripriya, if we don't have any questions, I think we can close the session.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll end the session.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you for coming for this webinar. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for attending this webinar. I think in future for related to deep tech only we are having another webinar as soon as possible. We'll release the date and name of the webinar and poster in APSSDC group. Okay, in APSSDC social media and everything. Just follow and again join and register. Same thing. So guys, thank you so much. And if you'd not given feedback, give feedback. Okay. So feedback was very important, guys, because what you all learned, so then we can conduct more webinars, then we can improve more things. So anyway, so that's all. So don't forget to feedback.
Hello?
Prashad,
Yeah.
yes, you
Hello.
want?
Yeah, Haripriya, I want to convey delated Happy New Year to one and all of the participants.
Okay, okay.
Okay, and
Yeah,
advance Sankranti also.
yeah, guys. Yeah, Prasad garu will convey wishes.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yes, we'll meet again as soon as possible with new webinar. Guys, thank you so much for attending to this webinar. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.